What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be diving into Marvel Rivals with my review. I have been playing this game a lot over the weekend. I've been super hyped for this one, and I wanted to let you guys know my full thoughts on what's working in this game, what's possibly not working, and is it worth downloading? Although it's a free-to-play game, right? I want to bring my perspective from a longtime Overwatch player that's been playing from the beta here. I'm going to slightly talk about Overwatch. I know a lot of you guys are sick of hearing this. I don't want to fully compare it, but I think there are some things here that it does borrow that need to be touched on. So before we get started on the review, if you like this type of content, I do game reviews, previews, tip videos, and different types of just gaming content. We are growing super fast, so drop a like, hit the subscribe if you like it for more, but let's dive in. So I want to start with some context on what Marvel Rivals is. It is a hero shooter. Back when Overwatch came out, there were some different types just like this game. I think there was one called Paladins that came out that kind of just shut down, didn't do really well. But everyone knows that Overwatch was that game that, you know, kind of solidified that entire genre here. Rainbow Six Siege came out, another game that I played a lot that kind of borrowed on that. And that kind of just spawned off different spin-offs. But Overwatch is the main one. You're going to be picking your hero here, and that hero has different abilities. In different maps, you're going to be pushing some type of objective, or you're going to be capturing an objective. There isn't really like a death match or anything like that here when it comes to this type of game. You are basically working with your team to accomplish whatever objective you have. Now, within this, you've got different types of characters, right? Different characters have different abilities, and they also have different classes. In this game, you're going to have the duelist, which does damage. You're going to have a strategist, which is basically kind of like putting down healing with a little bit of damage, right? I mean, you've got to be able to do some damage to stay alive. And on top of that, you've got someone called the Vanguard, which functions as a tank. And what's cool here about tanks is that basically they are kind of like the lifeline of your team. In order to really succeed, what happens is a lot of people will pick 2 tanks, 2 duelists, and then 2 healers. That basically has a kind of balanced team here. Different strategies started to come out, right? Where people would have 1 tank, sometimes more healers, sometimes more duelists. It all depends, right? And this type of game right here in Marvel Rivals, there is no role lock. So when you start up the game and you start playing, you're not going to be forced into a different class, right? You're not going to just pick duelists and go, okay, that's it, I'm selecting a duelist. No, you can get into a team where you've got 5 duelists, no tanks, no healers, right? It's kind of up to you and your team to figure that out. I think this was early on in Overwatch. This was a thing as well until they introduced role lock. Role lock is kind of like a staple now in different games like League. If you're playing Predecessor, for example, or Smite, they've got role lock there as well. So I think it's a matter of time before it comes to this, but you know, the quick play that just launched right now, you don't have to worry about it. You could kind of just test everyone out. So right off the bat, you know, Marvel Rivals does borrow a little bit here. You'll kind of see that within the 33 characters. And I think that's a huge plus, by the way. 33 characters right off launch. And there is just absolutely no pay to win, right? Let's just get into this like really good consumer friendly stuff here. This is a free to play game one, so you don't have to worry about spending any money to play it. And on top of that, all the characters are going to be free, including characters that come out in the future. You're not going to have to worry about buying a battle pass in order to get the most OP character, only for them to nerf them later on, just like what's been kind of happening. I think they fixed it in Overwatch 2, but the last time I played, you know, you had to buy the battle pass to move forward. And I mean, honestly, guys, I completely fell off that game after a while. And it was a game that I was playing on and off for a long time with my friends, but 2 really wasn't working for me. So yeah, so you don't have to worry about that here. You just have cosmetics. I think you're able to earn the cosmetics. I will say I'm a little confused at how the whole like monetization works. I mean, I know I can give them money to buy the skins. I think there's a way to earn them for free. I'm still kind of like figuring that out. Comment down below if you guys have that figured out. I mean, I've been earning like different currency that I just can't figure out really what to do with in the game. Going into the shop, honestly, guys, it'll blow your mind. It really does. So one really cool thing about this game is the graphic style. I really love the art style. I think it works with the Marvel characters. And on top of that, these Marvel characters have kind of like their own unique style, right? I mean, they aren't ripped completely from the comic books. They've kind of got like their variations. But then when you go into the store, you can find like, you know, comic book variations. You could find variations from the Marvel movies, Wanda's character, this awesome fake dolphin for Jeff the Shark, which really tempted to cop, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, that store is insane. It really is. They've put a lot of love here into these different types of skins. Not all of them are just like easy, you know, just blue variations or red variations, kind of like what you had in different games when they are in the store. Apex Legends, I'm looking at you, at least early on. That shit was terrible. But yeah, I mean, you are really tempted off the bat, especially with how free this game is, to want to spend at least, you know, 20 bucks to get whatever skin that you like for your character. But what held me back, guys, was just how many characters there was, right? I'm not going to drop money on a skin for a character that I'm going to just like stop using and just start maining someone else. And that was something that I want to talk about here, is that with 33 characters off launch, that is amazing. It really is. And it felt like almost every character was overpowered in some way, right? I struggled a bit in that first game trying to figure out the range, especially with the melee characters. But I mean, out of everyone that I was using, everyone just felt a little broken to me. And I think that's an awesome thing, at least for now, right? It felt viable. Everything felt viable. And, you know, rarely did something feel more broken than anything else. I mean, Iron Fist kind of started to get annoying, right? When you get wrecked by him in the back as you're trying to heal. But at the end of the day, everyone's got kind of like their awesome perks, right? Jeff the Shark, you're able to just like ult, take everyone up in a gulp and just spit them outside the map and just hope they can't, you know, use some of their abilities to get back or fly back. Another awesome one, I was using Psylocke, and she basically just goes Genji mode, but invisible, just goes slashing everybody and just tearing into them, which is just, you know, super fun when you're able to just sneak behind the enemies and just pull that one off. On the negative side, though, of the 33 characters is that, honestly, guys, there's mainly just duelists. It's a little weird, and it kind of leads to some imbalanced teams because everyone's just going to want to play duelist, especially if you're just solo queuing. You're going to have to kind of just play Phil here. And, you know, if you really care about winning, pick healer or pick tank. When it came to the tank class, I feel like Venom was really, really strong for someone that was able to not only, you know, take in a lot of damage, but he was able to dish out a ton of damage. He's easy to use. Besides that terrible web swing that him and Spider-Man have, there's a setting in there that you're able to adjust to make that a little easier. I think like the auto swing is just not working at all. It's kind of bugged. But I mean, besides that, you're able to pull off some awesome things. I mean, when I was Venom, I was just hiding sometimes above, you know, the capture point, waiting for them to, you know, get into firefights with my team, only to just drop down on them and destroy them as much as possible. And then as I'm about to die, activate his ability that helps you just take on and tank more damage. Vanguards felt strong. Healers, honestly, there was just not enough. I feel like we could take some duelists here and turn them into healers, or kind of just rework them, or at least just add new healers. Because honestly, guys, there really just isn't enough. Mantis was pretty fun. You know, when I was playing healer, Luna Snow was great as well. I had a lot of fun playing Jeff, honestly. I think Jeff is great. Loki was a little confusing. And, you know, when it comes to these characters, you do have different stars showing you whether they are easy to use, you know, beginner friendly, or just hard to use. Someone like Spider-Man, for example, he's a 5-star character. He's a lot more complex. He's harder to use. And I think this star system really helps when you're a new player trying to figure out, you know, kind of who you should use. You know, someone like Punisher, he's basically a clone of Soldier 76, but, you know, honestly, guys, I don't know how else you're supposed to do Punisher. He's a guy with a gun, right? So, end of the day, you know, it's expected. But this guy, he's just super easy to use, really noob friendly. I mean, if you want someone to just start right off the bat and use, Punisher is great. And he honestly feels overpowered. But again, like I said, everyone feels overpowered in this game, and I think that's the fun of it. Besides the characters, you've got 8 different maps with different objectives. What's really cool about the maps here, they really pay respect to the different Marvel licenses. Some of them are based on Spider-Man 2099, that's in the future. You've got Yggdrasil, that's kind of like a Thor map. On top of that, the objective, it's not just some payload, right? Like in Overwatch that you're just taking to the end. There's different objectives here that actually matter. You're actually taking like an axe all the way down in the map to kind of like blow up a tree or something like that. Honestly, I mean, when the game is starting, which by the way, the games start insanely fast. As soon as you hit find a match, you're going to find a match within like a second or two. There is type of like, you know, different story or text at the bottom. I think they're supposed to add voice acting, or I'm not sure if mine's bugged, but I did notice that at the bottom, there's kind of like a story that's being explained. You've got a scene that kind of pulls you in there. And what's really cool here is that if you're kind of like a comic book guy, if you're into the whole Marvel lore, you'll see different things here that make sense, right? It's not just heroes and bad guys fighting each other for some reason, right? You know, to make this company money, right, in the store. At the end of the day, I mean, there is a little bit of lore here. There was lore in different games like this and different hero shooters, and there was supposed to be like, you know, a PvE mode that kind of just never came out, but, you know, that's a whole separate story. But yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of like just the Marvel genre or licenses in general, you know, if you've got different characters here that you really like, What's really cool here is not only do the maps kind of just like function as little Easter eggs for people like that, but the characters actually interact with each other as well. You know, they'll say things to each other, especially, you know, if they've got kind of like relationships with each other. And you'll notice that, you know, while you're fighting during the matches, a little before the matches, before they start, really cool like attention to detail here, what I think is just like awesome when it comes to this type of game. I think the gameplay is actually really fun. It's addicting. You've got the different abilities that function for these characters that are easy to use but also difficult to master. Everyone's got an ultimate ability, and it feels like the ultimate abilities are actual game changers for people. For me, I was picking almost a new character every time. I had a lot of fun with Namor. I had a lot of fun with Venom. I had a lot of fun with Magic. I had a lot of fun with Psylocke. Honestly, every time I was choosing someone, as soon as I figured them out, I was enjoying my time with them. Namor, for example, has got little like octopus things that he puts down that are basically like little turrets that'll attack anyone that comes by. And you're throwing a spear that just crits people, and you'll just see their health bar just start to chunk away. I had a ton of fun using him and was doing really, really well. On top of that, the game also wants you to kind of synergize with your buddies, right? If you're playing with friends or randoms, you can actually choose to team up. So when I was using Namor, I had a friend of mine that was using Luna Snow. And what was cool here was that my octopus, I had a different variation for it that was a frozen octopus. That one did more damage. I think it slowed them down. It was a game changer. I was able to have 3 turrets basically down defending areas when we were playing any of our defense modes. If you're using Venom, for example, and Spider-Man, you're able to give Spider-Man a symbiote that he could use to deal damage. You know, every character's got different things. I think when I was using Magic, you're able to hand portals out to other people. So there is a beneficiary, someone that's actually getting kind of the thing. Like in that Venom case, he doesn't really get anything, but he gives one to Spider-Man, and he also gives it to Penny Parker. So at the end of the day, at least from what I'm seeing, there is some synergy there where you're going to want to at least pick characters that mesh with your team. So it does add a little bit more strategic layer there besides, you know, the 2 tanks, 2 healers, and 2 duelists that you're going to be kind of just like wanting to choose for a balanced team. And honestly, guys, it's the little things like that that make this feel fun and fresh. It really does. You're going to see that time goes by really fast when you're playing this game. I mean, at least when I'm playing it, I blow through 3 or 4 hours of the night, and all of a sudden it's 3 a.m. It's great. It really is. It finds matches quick. I didn't run into any server issues, which is insane nowadays because it's just like so many people are playing this game. So many people are enjoying it. And at the end of the day, I think it's really player friendly. And I think that's awesome. It's rare that we get a free-to-play game that isn't trying to milk us, especially with the Marvel license here. I know their other free-to-play games are kind of just like go crazy with the monetization. I mean, I'm an ex-Marvel Snap player, and it's just like that game started off amazing for me at least, and it just became a money pit. And, you know, I'm hoping, you know, this one isn't as bad. The skins are awesome. There's a lot of attention to detail there for anyone that does want to spend the money. And the battle pass is not expiring. I mean, that's awesome. It's got the same thing as Halo Infinite. I know when Halo Infinite came out, that was a game changer. Because it's like, as a gamer that doesn't have time to play, guys, it sucks, man. It really does for you to spend like 10, 15 bucks on a battle pass and go, hey, I'm going to play this a lot. You get busy and you just feel ripped off at the end when you're not able to make it. Besides all these awesome, you know, different things that they've been doing for the player base, there's a few negatives that I've got. Nothing crazy, honestly, guys. It's not like a game changer for me. I will say that the impacts, kind of like the animations, kind of the damage that's being done, feels really muted. I don't know what it is. I feel like, you know, especially with melee characters, it's really hard to tell when you're hitting someone or doing the damage. There's a lot of like visual clutter everywhere, which is, I guess, a basic thing in this type of game. I mean, Overwatch had a ton of visual clutter as well. But this game, with, you know, being third person, it's insane just how much is going on. You'll just find yourself holding, I think, right trigger or left click on your mouse and just trying to aim and figure out what you're doing because there's a lot that goes on. Especially if you're playing Captain America, which is another awesome tank, forgot to mention, guys. Easy to use, dishes a ton of damage, and just absorbs a ton of damage. So really fun, by the way. Check him out. Another small thing that I would like to say is that I get it. I get that, you know, it's inspired by Overwatch. I'm not, you know, going to harp too much on that and be like, oh my God, you know, they stole this or they stole Genji. They stole Soldier 76. At the end of the day, guys, these are abilities. It's not a big deal. There's a lot of characters that are very similar or inspired by, but I would say that the maps almost sometimes feel like exact clones. It's crazy. It's almost like someone took someone's homework and changed an answer or two. It's something that I do want to point out. You know, as a longtime Overwatch player, I did notice off the bat that the maps felt way too familiar here. It almost felt like it was developed by the same team. I'm hoping that in the future, you know, more maps do come out, because support when it comes to these free-to-play games is really where, you know, everything matters, right? Fortnite has been around for forever because of the insane amount of support that they're getting. I mean, I think they just announced that they're doing like a Valorant style or CSGO style game type on top of bringing back just like OG Fortnite. So actually supporting these free-to-play games and not just filling up the store is really what's going to make or break this thing. You know, updates are going to be there as well. I think they do need to listen to some player feedback, but not listen to everyone's feedback. You know, gamers, we like to bitch, man. We really do. And sometimes we will ask for just everything to get nerfed and just nothing is fun anymore at that point. So some guys may feel a little overtuned. I think it's not a big deal. I think we'll figure that out as the game progresses. I know there's some different heroes that have been leaked, and that's awesome that it already looks like we are getting a lot of support down the line. I am interested in just to see how long this one lasts, right? I mean, as a gamer myself, I mean, I've played multiverses that didn't last that long. Fall Guys was a thing that didn't last that long. Among Us is a thing that didn't last that long. I mean, there are just like these free-to-play games that come out yearly. You know, they'll be a hit. They'll hit breaking, you know, records and numbers. They'll kind of start to die off, right? It all just comes down to the community support. So as long as we've got the support here, this game is a blast, and I hope it continues. I really do. So to wrap up my thoughts on Marvel Rivals, I think that the game is amazing. It really is. It's one of the most fun games that I've played in the year, and it's crazy that this came out right at the end. I've lost a lot of time to it. This is the multiplayer game that me and my friends have been playing. We have completely basically just, you know, ditched Call of Duty and ditched zombies. We're just having a lot of fun here. It brings us back to like those OG, you know, Overwatch days where it's just like, all right, guys, just one more. Just one more. And, you know, we have games where we're steamrolling people, and we have games where we just get wrecked. You know, it's insane. It feels like there is a slight skill gap here, you know, but on top of that, the benefit is that everyone feels just as broken. We all are new, I guess, right now playing, so that's really fun. And I mean, it all just comes down to like how player friendly this game is, you know, not shoving battle passes down our throats, having a really fun store that you do want to engage in with all these little Easter eggs in the map, Easter eggs in the suits, right? Easter eggs in just like the celebrations that happen at the end of the game really make this game feel special and just overall fun. If I had to rate the game, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I'm really enjoying my time here. I want to be cautious here, right? Because every time I give one of these free games or one of these live service games really high scores like this, I seem to curse them and they just tank, right? Like what happened with Diablo. But guys, I can't say I'm not having fun, man. I really think that for a free game, it's a no-brainer to download. Try it out. If you have friends to play with, it's even more fun. I think there's just like an insane amount of people that are downloading this one and playing it. Overall, like I said, hopefully the community support is there for this type of game, but I'm enjoying it. I really am. If you made it this far, I appreciate you guys. Drop a like if you like the video. Don't forget to hit subscribe also to help support the channel, and leave a comment. I mean, let me know who your favorite character is, what you like about the game. I want to hear from the community here. I hope I'm not just like in an echo chamber with my friends. We're really enjoying it. We can't stop playing it. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Catch you later.